Episode 107. Hello, you're listening to the Career Changemaker podcast. Having the courage to leave a career that you have worked hard to build and try something else can be tough. So in each episode, we dive into key career change strategies so that you have a clear understanding of what is required to transition into a new role or a new industry without feeling like you have to start at the bottom or have to take a massive pay cut, because ain't nobody got time for that. If you are ready for frank and honest discussions about how to become a career change maker, keep listening. I'm your host, lawyer turned career strategist and executive coach, Janine Esbrand. Are you eager to get unstuck and figure out what you would actually like to do with your career next? Have you been going around in circles trying to figure it out but getting no further forward? If so, you're going to love today's sponsor, my signature group program, the Career Clarity Academy. Changing career direction can feel overwhelming and daunting, but it doesn't have to be. In my signature program, we give you clear, step-by-step, proven processes for getting completely clear on what it is that you want to do and understanding how you can leverage your existing experience and position yourself to attract and land a dream role. To find out more, head over to lightboxcoaching.com/academy. Hello, and welcome to the show. I am looking forward to this episode because each and every week I share with you different career change strategies and give you guidance on how you can be shifting your mindset and how you can be preparing for the type of transition that you really want to make. But I acknowledge fully that it is not easy to make such transitions. It's not easy to change career direction. And so on today's episode, I want to pull back the curtain and speak to one of my previous clients about her experience with navigating career change. So we're going to be speaking to Julie Billings, who's going to be sharing how she went from being unemployed to finding a role and how she felt about getting the right support at the right time so she could start to focus her mind on what she really wants in her career going forward. She is so lovely, and I think I've mentioned to you guys before that I get to speak to and work with some incredible women. So I'm excited to introduce this one to you. So without further ado, let's jump into my conversation with Julie. Hi, Jules. I am so excited that you are here today. I am going to be chatting to Jules, who is one of the alumni from the Career Clarity Academy. So that's my group coaching program. And we're talking today because I really want her to be able to share her experience from where she was before she joined the program and how she felt going through it so that she can share what's possible for anyone who's considering joining. And I'm just really excited to speak to you because knowing where you started and then where you are now, like for me, it's exciting to see the journey. And so that's part of the reason why I just want to share, because sometimes people can't see what's possible, but then when they hear someone else talk about their situation and how it shifted, it can encourage them to make some moves. So we're going to dive in. Is that all right?
Yeah, go for it. Hello, everyone.
So let's just start with you talking a bit about kind of where you were before you joined the program, how you were feeling, what you were doing, and what you were thinking about.
Yeah, of course not. I'm known for gabbing on, so I'll try and keep it quite succinct. But last September, I found myself, I was made redundant, and I'm a single mum, and I found myself at a crossroads, not really knowing what to do. But one thing that was very clear to me was that I had been making a repetition, and there was quite a clear set of repetition in terms of my behaviours every time I had either decided to leave a job or was looking for a new job or found myself at the end of a contract, for example. I was going through exactly the same motions as I had always done, and it really wasn't getting me to where I felt I needed to be. So even though it was quite a shock being made redundant, it gave me the impetus to just take stock and think, I know I need to make a change, but I have no idea how to do it. I'd joined a number of Facebook groups trying to find the answers to the golden ticket that is flexible working around childcare, etc. And I happened to stumble across Janine through and one of her boot camps. So I duly took on her boot camp. I religiously went for every session, busily taking down as many notes as possible in the hope that I would, see the light and get some real clues as to what to do next. And I found it so insightful at the time that when the opportunity came and be part of the academy, then it just seemed a bit of a no-brainer for me. So that's how I got to become part of the academy, in a nutshell.
And I'm so glad you joined, because you were one of the members who showed up to every call and was really engaged and took action. And so I want you to talk a bit about kind of your experience in the program, and how did it differ from the boot camp? Was it what you expected it to be? Just share a bit about that.
I suppose the difference was, for me, the boot camp was at sort of higher level, and obviously it didn't really go down into the sort of the granular detail of what you really need to do in terms of following the path and a journey. And I say the word journey, and I don't use that lightly, because I think all of us that were on the academy went through our own different journeys. And the tools and exercises that Janine brings to the academy enables you to really, and I use this word a lot in corporate, do the deep dive, but it's really true, because we were really diving quite deep into places that I don't think any of us had really had the opportunity to really sit and think about. By that, I mean things that were reflected on what our true values were, what actually made us tick, looking at parts of our life and the balance that we wanted a new career could bring. So without going into too much detail, giving too much away, over in its entirety, what the course enabled us to do, and I talk about us because it was a really lovely community, was run through tools and workshops and examples and great sort of advice, and which we could all take away and do in bite-sized chunks. So suddenly that huge, enormous premise of changing your career or finding the light or finding the perfect solution wasn't so overwhelming anymore, and it really enabled us all to just take a step back, take stock, understand where we were at, where we wanted to get to, and build the confidence mechanisms in which to enable us to do that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it totally does. And I think that whole, we talk about a lot in the program, right? Like you've got to trust the process, like everything's building on each other and you've got to take action. And one of the things that I loved about you is you did take action. You took one of the principles that we shared around getting out there and networking, and you went and you did it, and you got an amazing result from that, right? Like going from where you started in the program, looking for a role, and then landing a really great contract role before we got halfway through the program. And that's really testament to you just showing up, taking on board what you learned, and then going and doing it.
Yeah, and I think that's another thing, if I can say this, Janine, I think that was a lovely part about the program, is that you kept reassuring us to say, even if you aren't able to digest everything and implement every single step of the way, it doesn't matter, because what you don't realise is that how far you come on each of the little workshops that you do. I definitely feel that it's been a huge benefit to me. And even though, due to circumstances with COVID and everything else, a number of us struggled to carry on as much as we would have liked to have, but that didn't matter, because none of it has been wasted. Everything that we did has been of great value. And the most important thing and that I take away from it is a fantastic toolkit that I've now got, that I can always refer back to at any stage. So when I first came to the program, I had a complete career change in mind. And I think what it's enabled me to do is not necessarily write that off. I still have that hope and that dream and that vision, but it just means that I can park it until it's at a time when it's appropriate in my life. But what's most important now is that I'm using the tools to get where I need to be for me right now. And that's the difference. And I think so, none of it has been wasted for me. It's been a really interesting program and I've thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, I love that. Like switching the perspective, because, there's the long-term goal, but then there's the immediate goal, and it's recognizing, well, what's actually important to me now and what's going to shift for me. And knowing that whatever you're working on now is going to lead up and build to wherever you're going to go. Like nothing's wasted in terms of your experience either. So that's awesome. So what would you say was a bit about, if you think about the structure of the program, how it was delivered, what was the most useful for you?
Do you know what? I think it was the very beginning part, probably the first 3 modules for me, was where we were really sort of just to stop, cut out all of the noise, cut out all of the pressure, because at the time of being unemployed, of course, looking for a job is almost like a job. You're getting up and you're doing the same things, same job websites, looking at the same things, and wondering why your CV isn't going anywhere, wondering why you're not getting responses, and just feeling like you're sort of banging your head against a brick wall. And what those first sort of 2 or 3 modules enabled me to do was just to understand the importance of stopping and just downing tools and going on that sort of, I use the word again, journey, to say, just stop. What is it that I actually want? Because all I was doing was literally just regurgitating old habits and sort of shoehorning myself on what I thought were my best skills into any role that was out there that had particular keywords in it or whatever. And you realise how inappropriate that is when you start to look at what your real values are about, what really matters to you, what do you really want from a job that's going to get you up in the morning, that's going to meet all of that motivating criteria to make you happy at the end of the day. One of the points you raised in one of the modules is just how much time you spend at work. And if you're going to work every day flogging a dead horse and hating it, and it just, there's not much use in that. So I think for me, all of it was of great value, but I think for me, the stopping at the beginning, really looking into what really mattered, what my values were, and how I was going to apply my beliefs and my values into a role. And then that enabled me to sort of open up the doors to then continue through the rest of the process and the rest of the modules. Yeah. So I think we all had light bulb moments from those first 2 or 3 weeks, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that I really loved about this cohort was that there were so many different women from different backgrounds, and everybody was just so supportive and got on really well. And it's beautiful to see, over the course of the program, going from like strangers, not knowing each other, to then being really, really supportive. And sometimes we'd be on the call and someone would say something and I wouldn't even have to jump in. One of you would jump in and be like, no, you can do it. Don't say that about yourself. You're doing really well. And I was like, oh, it's so lovely to see that community element like really come in and see you guys supporting each other.
I think there was there was an element of nervousness at the beginning, because you think, oh, crumbs, am I going to be in a cohort with lots of really sort of career-minded women? Where are they going to be in their careers and how are they wanting to change? And at the end of the day, it didn't really matter where you were in your career or what stage you'd got to, or whether you were at a higher level or a lower level, because at the end of the day, we were all there for a shared reason. And that's what brought us together, was that kind of spirit of, come on, you can do this. It doesn't matter what stage you're at.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were all in it together. It was really nice. And I've no doubt everyone's going to go on to do some really great things.
Yeah. So who would you say the program would be a good fit for? So if you think about the types of women that are in there, and you think about someone who's thinking about needing to make a career change, who would you say would be a good fit?
I think it's kind of on a multi-level, because if you took somebody like me who'd probably been thinking about where on earth am I going over the last 20 years, there's that element of it. There's also somebody who's been in their existing career. Like we had somebody on the cohort who actually had been in an existing role, and at the end of the academy, she suddenly realised that actually didn't want to leave her job per se, but with some subtle tweaks and development, that then would lead her to a perfect job. Yeah. So I don't think that there's like one set thing that you can put everything under that umbrella and say, if you're that type of person, this is for you. Because I think it's for everybody, if the truth be known. If you've got any thoughts about any dreams or aspirations, or whether you just curious about how you can make some changes, or whether you're at a really dire crossroads like I was, where you sort of find yourself unemployed and you kind of go, I have no idea what to do next. Yeah, I think so. In a roundabout way, it's for everybody. But not, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I think you're totally right in terms of if your focus is, I need to figure out what it is I want to do, what direction I want to take, then the process that we go through can definitely be helpful and get you to the place where it's like, okay, this is manageable. We can move forward. We can do this. So yeah,
and build your confidence. At the end of the day, I think that's what has helped me. Is I came to this feeling very low in confidence, and I think it's now given me the tool set to feel confident. I can then revert back and say, right, okay, if I need to take a couple of steps back, I'll do that. I'll just reset, go back over my notes, go back over where I need to be, and then move forward again. And that's the difference. That's what it's really given me, is that confidence.
Yeah. Oh, so good. I'm so excited for you. So is there anything else that you'd like to add before we wrap up?
No, other than just a great deal of thanks. I mean, I'm very glad that I stumbled across your boot camp and conversely went on the academy, because as I say, I suppose it would have been lovely to have gone and found the perfect role at the end of it. But I'm not so worried. I think at the beginning I felt that sort of, oh God, I've got to go and get that perfect, that dream. But actually, that's not what this is all about. And I think it's been, a really good experience for me, really hugely beneficial.
Yeah. Oh, so good, Jules. And so happy to kind of just hear that progress and that shift in mindset, and you just feeling like, I've got this. Wherever I am in this journey, I've got the tools that I need to move forward. And like I said, you've made great progress from looking for a role at the beginning and then landing a contract role before we ended the program. That's brilliant progress. So I'm looking forward to all that's coming for you.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be awesome. But yeah, so just thank you for trusting me to guide you through the process and joining the program and just being an awesome, just participant, because you can show up and you really did show up and support your fellow PCA members as well. So I really appreciate that.
Lovely. Thanks ever so much, Janine. It's been great.
Thanks, Jules.
I just love speaking to Jules. She is such an amazing woman, and it's just really great to hear her open up and share her journey. I hope you are inspired. One of the things that she mentioned was feeling overwhelmed with the whole process of figuring out what she wanted to do next, and it was good to hear her share how breaking things down really did make a difference for her and move the needle in terms of her mindset and how she was thinking about the career change and approaching it. Now, I'd love for you to share with me what your biggest insight or takeaway has been from this episode. So head over to Instagram, give me a tag, let me know what your biggest takeaway was, because it's so good to hear from you as you're listening to the show and engaging with the content that we share over here. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Career Changemaker podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, I would love for you to let me know what your biggest takeaway has been. So head over to Instagram, tag me at Career Changemaker, and let me know your thoughts. What did you like most about today's episode? I look forward to hearing from you. Until next time, keep working towards your career goals, and we will speak very, very soon.